of yesteryear. We're on the 29th of Tevet. Chavtet Tevet marks the Hilula of a really great Moroccan rabbi. His name was Rabbi Yehuda ben Moyal, Zecher Tzadik Leberach, one of the great rabbis in his time. From Morocco. It's actually interesting. Came from great rabbinic heritage. His father's name was Harav Makhluf, very, very great rabbi. And his mother actually came from the famous Ben Shabbat family. Very, very great heritage and greatness in of itself. He was born in an area called Taroudant in Morocco. And his father, as we said before, Rav Makhluf, happened to be a Dayan and let's say the religious leader inside that city in of itself. His family would move while he was young to the area of Essuera, a place we've spoken about on various occasions before. And over there he would study under great auspices in this specific locale, let's just say. I believe he would learn under auspices of his uncle, his brother's, his mother's brother, Rabbi Yaakov ben Shabbat, and also Rabbi Shlomo Tanji, really, really great rabbonim of itself. And he would over there learn the entire encompassment of Shas, study the Talmud Babli in his youth, and later on he will be appointed as not just a rabbi, the Dayan of the Jewish community in Safi. Very interesting. And he would head the yeshiva, the pinnacle of the yeshiva in of itself, while he was at a young age. These were very, very prosperous positions. Safi is another great place we've spoken about in Morocco, respectively, inside this series. I believe, come what the Hebrew year, Hey Tafresh Lamed Zayin, I think this was around the year 1876, he would return to the area of Moyal in of itself, and over there he will be appointed also a rabbi of that locale and the Dayan, a judge. Now, it happened to be, I believe, after Rabbi Avram bin Attar, another great rabbi, had passed away, I believe, in the year Hey Tafresh Lamed Tet, he would be appointed as the head of the Jewish court, the Rosh of Bedin, of the Bedin, the Jewish court of that city in of itself. Very, very a prominent position in of itself. And I believe he would have like a 30-year, let's just say, position inside this ministry in of itself, and he was known. He made a great mark on the city among the Jewish community. It was really mitchazek and strengthened, and was known as a very noble man, a very great man in of itself. It's actually the famous Baba Sali, Rabbi Yisrael Abu Chatzer, the famous Rabbi Yaakov Abu Chatzer, also properly known as Abi Yaakov, really thought that he was one of the great rabbis of this generation in itself. And really, really spoke very, very highly with in regards to him and defined him in among one of the greats of that generation. He would learn in the yeshiva of that city in himself, and many of the great students who would also be appointed in prominent positions, including Rabbi Yaakov ben Shabbat. So I think, come what the year, I think it was the Hebrew year, was just to state out Taf Reish Ayin. He appointed his son, Harav Masud, to actually take his place as the rabbi of that area, and he would set out a journey to the land of Israel in of itself. He would travel to Tangier, but I think at that point in time, his son had, they thought maybe he was too young to actually take this position, so he would actually return there shortly afterwards, and I think let's just say the positions were sorted out in of itself, and he would embark his journey to the land of Israel. I think it was assisted actually by another famous rabbi we've spoken about on various occasions before, Rabbi Rafal and Kawa, who was one of the great Moroccan rabbis of his generation, a renowned thinker, halakhic decision maker in Morocco, considered one of the main Morocco rabbis of his time. So he would actually help, let's just say, assisting with in regards to, let's just say, this move to the land of Israel. And I think eventually he would actually arrive in Israel. I think Kamot Elul Tafresh Ayin, and he would settle in Jerusalem. Jerusalem being one of the four holy cities of Israel, along with Hebron, Tzfat, and Tiberias. Now, happened to be, I think, shortly later, sadly, he passed away in Chavtet Tevet, Hey Tafresh Ayin Aleph, and I think he passed away. He actually, I think it was at the time period of Sudash and Shit on a Shabbat. Time passed away, if I'm not mistaken. He was buried in Har HaZeitim, the Mount of Olives burial plot in Jerusalem, and it's actually quoted, I believe, on his stone setting in the burial place. And there's other quotings. He was one of the real great rabbis of his generation, of his time period in of itself. I think, sadly, anti-Semitically, Arabs, it was reported over, did destroy his grave, And I think the exact approximate location of his grave is reported over in the hamichlol.org.il website is actually not known. Exact part it is, if I'm not mistaken, it's over there. It's actually interesting, I believe, in the year 1994, approximately 100 years after he wrote a lot of his manuscripts, Torah works, the Shevet Yehuda was printed, I think, from his descendants, which were comprised of various different questions and answers, sermons that he gave over, teachings, chidushim, a shut to Sheilot Teshuvot book in of itself, very, very popular one, the Shevet Yehuda. This would have been about 31 years ago from the time of recording. I would actually recommend everyone to look at a copy of this Torah colossal book, learning his teachings in of itself. Let's explore his the family also, which he left. I believe he got married, he was married on 2 occasions, if I'm not mistaken. He would have 5 children from Rabbanit Rivka, and he would get married later on to Rabbanit Clara. I believe they would have 2 children. Among them, just to mention, one of his children one of his sons was Rabbi Masood, I think, who would actually take over his place in Moga'dor, respectively. Very, very prominent position. I believe his Chatan, his son-in-law, was Rabbi Shimon Zarihen, who happened to be a great Dayan in Sefi, in of itself. And we've spoken about the Zurichen famous family in of itself, related over some videos of the great rabbis. I believe they're most likely related. And I believe also that Rabbi Moyal actually did spend a period of time also in Gibraltar. I'm not too sure exact time period. I think it was at least 1 year. He spoke and on halakhic letters and the various different matters in himself with many of the great rabbis, not just Rabbi Raphael Enkawa, also the famous former Rishon LeZion. I think he was Rishon LeZion between 1893 to 1906. Rabbi Yaakov Shaul Elisha, and these were really great rabbis of his point in time. And he was a rabbi that was seen as astounding even at such a young age. It's the greatness of the rabbi. He passed away, I think, in 1911. So we're talking about 114 years ago at the time of recording this video. That was naturally on Chav Tet Tevet, 29th of Tevet. Don't forget to light candles in the great rabbi's memory. He was a great rabbi of his time period. And learn more about the great rabbis of yesteryear. We're a community here. We're learning about the great Chachamim, especially at the time period of the Hilula of the Rabbanim. He actually was one of the rabbis from Taradan, a place that we've spoken about on various occasions before. We've related over about 80, 90 great Chachamim already from Morocco inside this series. If you haven't been related to any of these great rabbis, please send me an email. I would love to hear more. Light candles in the memory and subscribe to the channel. If you feel anyone will be interested in watching these videos, please share the videos to other people. So wishing you blessings from Israel. Take care and blessings.